Hello, my name is Garrett, and I'm the head coach of the Buffalo Bills here on Madden 23. This is a full recap of the 2025 season through my eyes. Yes, you heard me correctly when I said 2025. This is an online franchise with my rival, Isaiah Roybal. Isaiah is currently the head coach of the Detroit Lions. He won the Super Bowl in the first season of this online franchise as the Las Vegas Raiders, but has been chasing his second ring ever since. Isaiah brought the Pittsburgh Steelers an AFC Championship and Super Bowl berth in 2023, but would be beat in overtime by the San Francisco 49ers. Isaiah would forego the 2024 season for unknown reasons. This is where I come in. As a first-year coach, I was given the keys to a loaded offense that included Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and Odell Beckham Jr. We annihilated the rest of the league as we only lost one game in the regular season. We then tore through the playoffs and ultimately beat the defending champion 49ers to claim the Bills' first Super Bowl win in franchise history. Despite the dominant playoff run, the media tried to discredit our Super Bowl victory for multiple reasons, ranging from Joe Burrow getting injured and missing the playoffs to our ring being called a Mickey Mouse ring because we didn't have to go through a team led by a coach with the last name Roybal. That left room for one thing and one thing only: to run it back and prove the doubters wrong by winning back-to-back Super Bowls. We started our road to repeating with a game against reigning MVP Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday night primetime to celebrate ring night. The Ravens came out and put up a fight early, but this interception by Tre'Davious White would take away any momentum the Ravens had gained. This random AI-generated player would seal the game with a long touchdown off of a beautiful pass by Josh Allen. After this game, I made a trade that would send Odell Beckham Jr. back to the Los Angeles Rams in exchange for DeAndre Hopkins. In Week 2, we would be taking on Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals for our first road game of the year. This was the game where I figured out that my defense was going to be the weak link for my team. We let Burrow pick us apart on the final drive of the game. The Bengals would score this late touchdown that would give us our first loss of the season. Week 3 was our first division game of the season against the New York Jets, and there wasn't much to speak on this game as we took care of business and blew out a struggling Jets team 48-20. In our fourth game of the season against the Jacksonville Jaguars, Josh Allen would put us in an early 14-0 hole with this fumble. We would battle back, and even had an 8-point lead in the third quarter with this Diggs touchdown snag. In the end, however, this kick by Tyler Bass would give us our second loss of the season. Week 5 started with this long DeAndre Hopkins touchdown and ended with us walking out with a 44-31 win against the Miami Dolphins. Like a roller coaster, our season started with ups and downs. Week 6 against the Patriots was one of the downs, as whatever the hell this was happened, and we sunk to 3-3 to start the season. The Super Bowl hangover had appeared to be hitting us harder than a freight train, as our rocky start had people questioning if we had what it took to even make it back into the playoffs. We found a much-needed confidence boost by beating Justin Fields and the Carolina Panthers in Week 7. Week 8, we would be playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. This game was the biggest game of the season so far as both teams were sitting in a wild card spot with a 4-3 record. The entire country got to witness our high-powered offense do its thing as we accumulated over 500 yards in a very back-and-forth game. This first down run late in the game by Josh Allen would seal a very important 38-35 victory on Thursday night primetime. While I was happy with the win, I still found it very concerning that my defense was allowing a quarterback like Kenny fucking Pickett to put up 35 points on us. The only way we were going to be able to continue winning games was by letting our offense carry us week in and week out. Luckily for us, Josh Allen is the quarterback, and he wants nothing more than to put the team on his shoulders and win football games. Week 9 took us down to the Superdome to take on the New Orleans Saints. Rumor has it that the locals coined us the Bayou Bills after the 38-10 victory. In Week 10, we finally got to play back in Buffalo. This game was all around just odd. From this Tre'Davious White interception where I clicked the wrong button and still ended up scoring, to this buzzer-beater touchdown by Gabe Davis. In a fitting fashion, we would go on to win this game by the odd score of 29-8. Week 11 was our bye week, and I almost didn't want it as we came out flat against our division rival Jets in Week 12. We fell behind 14-0 in the first half, but luckily we were able to recover as our offense started to pick us up with this Dawson Knox touchdown. On the first play of the fourth quarter, Kenny Moore would pick off Zach Wilson. Now you may be thinking this is the play that won the game, right? Wrong. Just when you thought the Bills' defense made a play to win the game, this idiot gave it right back to them by fumbling on the return. This dumbass was our Super Bowl MVP last season, by the way. And to top it all off, the Jets would score on this drive. This game would come down to the final play where this proceeded to happen.
Allen. And he's got it. It's caught for a touchdown. And they have taken the lead here in the final seconds.
Josh Allen would throw a perfect ball to Stefon Diggs, who made an amazing catch over two defenders. While there was a seed of doubt that had creeped in, I found confidence in the fact that we faced adversity and had overcome it. In Week 13, we made another trip back to MetLife to take on the other New York team, the Giants. In what turned out to be a pretty good football game, Dawson Knox would show that the Bills just wanted it more with this touchdown. This muffed punt recovery would cap off a 41-28 victory as we won our sixth straight game. The following Sunday, we would make a trip down to South Beach to take on the Miami Dolphins again. This game holds a pretty significant importance, as at this moment in time we would be playing each other in the first game of the playoffs. This game could decide playoff seeding and who hosts that playoff game if it were to come to fruition. We got the ball first, and it only took us 2 plays to make it down the field for an opening drive touchdown. Funky is the word I'd use to describe this game. Mike Gesicki definitely got CTE from this hit. Tua drilled whoever the hell that guy is in the head, and he still somehow caught it. We would escape with a 23-16 victory to improve to 10-3 on the season. In Week 15, we came out and laid an egg against the Cleveland Browns. Myles Garrett ripped through the offensive line nearly every play, and even though the Browns didn't play all that good, we somehow played worse and lost 24-17. In Week 16, we got an opportunity to not only avenge our Week 6 loss against the New England Patriots, but also to clinch the division title. With the help of Stefon Diggs having a monster game with 4 touchdowns, and the refs not calling pass interference here, we steamrolled the Patriots. I scored this touchdown with 8 seconds left simply because I'm petty. I also went for 2 because 48 looks better than 47. Sue me. In Week 17, we were taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this game brought me to the conclusion that the NFC was just simply the weaker conference. In what would turn out to be one of the easier games this season, we went on to win 42-14 to complete the sweep of the NFC South. At 12 and 4, Week 18 is typically a rest week for the starters. This, however, is not your normal Week 18 matchup. We are taking on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. They sit with a 12 and 4 record as well, which means the winner of this game will clinch the second seed in the AFC playoffs. The Bengals own the tiebreak over both us and Kansas City, so they are locked in as the first seed at 13 and 3. Somehow all of that isn't even the most important storyline heading into this matchup. We are on record watch as Josh Allen comes into this game with 57 touchdown passes on the season. The record is held by Derek Carr, who had 60 in 2022 when the Raiders won the Super Bowl. Josh Allen would get touchdown pass number 58 very quickly, as on our first play from scrimmage, he would find Dawson Knox, who would somehow slip through 2 defenders and take it to the house. Touchdown pass number 59 would come just a few minutes later when Allen found Stefon Diggs, who beat his man in coverage with the safeties playing up. Josh Allen would tie the record on this play by finding DeAndre Hopkins, who would then knife his way through the defense for 6. The craziest part was this wasn't stat padding against a bad team. We were up 21-0 at the end of the first quarter because of Allen's arm. At this point in the game, I seriously considered getting the record with Allen and then benching the starters to get them some rest for our upcoming playoff run. That thought was almost immediately put in the back of my mind as Josh Allen threw a pick 6. After back-to-back long drives from Mahomes, the Chiefs would tie the game at 24 before half. We got the ball back with 12 seconds left before halftime. I was genuinely considering taking a knee here, but seeing as we had 3 timeouts, I thought we could maybe get in range for a field goal. That's when Allen would find Diggs again to break the record with his 61st touchdown pass of the season. Tre'Davious White made a game-changing play on this play by baiting Mahomes into throwing a pick. We would convert on the turnover by having Josh Allen connect with Stephon Diggs yet again to push the lead to 48-27. Allen would find Diggs one more time in the fourth quarter to push his season total to 63 touchdown passes. Up 55-34 with 4 minutes left is when I decided it was a safe point to pull the starters and let the backups soak away the rest of the game. After this game, I would check the record book and find out that Josh Allen's performance had helped him set the single-season passing record as well. It should come as no surprise, but Josh Allen would also clinch the NFL's MVP award for the 2025 season. As we transition to the playoffs, I'd like to take a quick look at the full playoff bracket. Our first playoff game would be against the Miami Dolphins, but what I found concerning was that as I looked up and down the AFC side, I noticed that 3 out of the 6 teams had beaten me in the regular season. The potential rematch with the Bengals in Cincinnati was already in the back of my mind. Coach Isaiah Roybal and the Detroit Lions seemed like a surefire lock to win the NFC Championship. After sweeping Miami in the regular season, I expected a fairly easy win in this wild card matchup. Somehow it ended up being more of a first-round bye and a full pads walkthrough as we violated the Dolphins from the word go. The Miami defense had no answer for Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, or pretty much anyone wearing a Bills jersey for that matter. On the first play of the second half, Nyheim Hines broke free on this run to push our lead to 42-6. I decided to bench the starters and let the second and third string guys get some playoff reps. We kept the ball on the ground and walked out with a 56-20 victory. In the divisional, we would be facing Mahomes and the Chiefs for the second time in 3 weeks. Kansas City came out and marched down the field for an opening drive touchdown, and then another touchdown on their second drive. Josh Allen made a critical mistake on this play by trying to force it to Diggs, and it led to an interception. Fortunately for us, our defense would step up and make a play to negate the turnover. Our offense continued to lay an egg in the first half, and we found ourselves down 21-7 to the Chiefs in the playoffs. I knew I had to lock in and get it together. I went all in on chewing clock, and Singletary would close the gap to 7 points heading into half. We would receive the ball to start the third quarter, and Devin Singletary would find the hole in the defense to bring us back to level. Kansas City would put us back down 7 on this play to start the fourth quarter. I would dial up this screenplay, and Nyheim Hines would show how much he wanted it by battling for this touchdown. Our defense would come through big by holding the Chiefs to only a field goal. We got the ball back with 1 minute and 16 seconds left to save our season. The drive started with Stephon Diggs doing this. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, but it's always better to be both. Like seriously, how the fuck did he catch this? We got down to the 1-yard line, but couldn't risk running the ball with no timeouts. Our dream of winning back-to-back titles was hanging on by a thread when Stephon Diggs decided to pull off another playoff miracle. For the second straight season, we were able to eliminate the Kansas City Chiefs. While I was hyped about the win, I knew that the Bengals were wait. We're playing the Jaguars? How in the actual fuck did the Jaguars beat the Bengals? Imagine having the best record in the league just to choke it away to an 8-9 team in the playoffs. All jokes aside, the Jaguars are no pushover. In fact, they beat us way back in Week 4. For the second straight season, the AFC Championship game would be hosted in Highmark Stadium. We would start the scoring early in this one as Stephon Diggs burned his man for the touchdown on the first play from scrimmage. On the Jaguars' possession, we were able to get to Lawrence and create early pressure. We got the ball back with a chance to put a chokehold on this game early. And then Josh Allen reverted back to his early season self and fucking fumbled the ball for what seems like the 87th time this season. The Jaguars converted on the turnover and tied the game at 7. We took the lead back midway through the second quarter with this Singletary run. The Jaguars answered back quickly when Tre'Davious White tried to bait the pick here, but instead got burned on the slant. After a field goal, the Jaguars would take the lead going into half on this Brandon Cooks touchdown. After a slow-moving third quarter, we powered our way to a 26-21 lead, but would fail on the ensuing 2-point try. On the following drive, Quinnen Williams would bully his way through the offensive line and forced Trevor Lawrence to fumble. We were able to capitalize on the turnover with Allen lobbing Diggs another touchdown to extend the lead to 33-21. On a third down play that the Jaguars needed to stop us on, Diggs was able to draw a pass interference call that would take us down to the 4-yard line. Devin Singletary would punch it in a few plays later to seal the 40-21 win. This would also clinch our second straight Super Bowl appearance. The Detroit Lions would beat the Dallas Cowboys 28-21 in the NFC Championship. In a twist everyone saw coming, this would set up a user v. user Super Bowl matchup between me and Coach Isaiah Roybal. Super Bowl 60 would be hosted in Atlanta, and we came in as betting favorites. We got the ball first and had a sustained drive that would be capped off by this Diggs touchdown to give us the 7-0 lead. Baker Mayfield would lead the Lions down the field and tie it back up at 7. Early in the second quarter, TJ Watt would force Singletary to cough up the football in the red zone. My strategy for the game was going to be to blitz almost every play and try to force Baker to make a mistake. This strategy would come back to bite us here when Mayfield found an open St. Brown to take the lead. Another long drive would be capped off by another Diggs touchdown right before the half. The Lions would get the ball to start the second half and took a 20-14 lead. A missed extra point would leave the door open, and on the first play of the following drive, Hines would find a hole and took off to give the lead back to the Bills. I caught Coach Roybal off guard with this perfectly placed onside kick to get the ball back. Unfortunately, we wouldn't take advantage of the momentum, and Odell Beckham Jr. would give the Lions the lead again. The Lions would force another punt and extend their lead to 34-21 after converting on the 2-point conversion. We were down by 13 heading into the fourth quarter, and it looked all but over. This Devin Singletary touchdown would cut the lead to 6. The Lions' hurry-up offense had stayed one step ahead of us all game long and were threatening to score again. This is when Baker Mayfield made the biggest mistake of the season and threw the ball right to Micah Hyde. The very next play, the safety would bite on the slant, and Allen would find Diggs for the go-ahead touchdown. The Lions would get the ball back, and Odell would be left as open as he possibly could be. After the 2-point conversion was successful, the Lions held a 42-35 advantage with 5 minutes remaining. On this fourth down, DeAndre Hopkins would make the biggest catch of his career to keep the game alive for the Bills. After a long drive that chewed the rest of the clock, Singletary would run across the goal line with 4 seconds left. I decided I wanted to finish it here and go for 2. Josh Allen had one more MVP moment in him as he was able to elude TJ Watt and found Dawson Knox in the back corner of the end zone to give us the 43-42 lead with 4 seconds left. On the final play of the game, we forced an incomplete pass by Baker, who was trying to connect with Odell again. This would seal arguably the clutchest playoff run in NFL history. The blue and red confetti would start to rain down as the journey was complete, and we had successfully ran it back and won back-to-back Super Bowls. I shook my rival's hand as I knew me and Coach Roybal would meet in a big game again. The upcoming offseason left many lingering questions, but for now, it was time to celebrate with my team. Josh Allen won Super Bowl MVP to cap off the greatest season a quarterback ever had. I was asked by a reporter how I had the guts to go for 2. While I was thinking to myself, because I don't trust this shitty defense in overtime, I simply replied, "I'm that guy."